There is losers and winners in the world, just like there's night and there's day. This is winner's circle. If you want to be a top realtor, if you want to be a top salesperson, whatever you're selling, you focus on these 4 things and you're going to get there. So what does it take to be a successful salesperson? Hey man, I used to struggle with that my whole life. I've been selling real estate for about 20 years. And as a rookie, I had no idea how to do it. So I want to put some game on you so you don't have to suffer how I did. And you're going to have the blueprint to be a successful sales agent right off the jump. I'm going to share 4 tips with you. Ready? Let's start off with mental fortitude. I could go on days and days for this, but we have to understand that if we're not mentally strong as salespeople, the things that we want to accomplish are not going to get done. Why? Because nobody is watching you. Nobody is there to take attendance to make sure that you're showing up. If you want to show out, you have to show up. But what are you going to do when people aren't watching you? What are you going to do when nobody's holding you accountable? What are you going to do when the zeros or the multiple figures in your bank account are based on your mental fortitude? I used to be the biggest procrastinator. So if you're someone that suffers from procrastination, there is an out. You do not have to be the same person today that you were in the past. You can switch it like that. You can switch your state anytime you want. So if you're suffering from procrastination, or if you're suffering from fear of rejection, or if you suffer from a fear of failure, it all boils down to mental fortitude. Picture that favorite athlete that you and I always wanted to be. You know who that is. And what do you admire about that athlete? You admire them for their practice, their mental fortitude to do the things that we can't do, waking up early, jogging in the cold. Yeah, we see the accolades, but we don't see the work. And in order to be really great at sales, we also must think like athletes. We must be mentally strong because nobody's watching. We already covered that. Nobody's telling you what to do. Because when we go to school, there's a teacher in front of the class. Hey, do this, read pages from 6 to 10, and I'm going to give you a quiz tomorrow so you know exactly what to do. In real estate sales, you have no idea what to do. Your broker is not going to teach you. Unless you have a team leader, you don't know what you're going to do. And if you do have a team leader, you're giving out too much commission. That's a different story for a different day. So practice having mental fortitude. Here are the things that helped me become mentally strong. Number 1, I surrounded myself with people that I wanted to be like. Their habits rubbed off on me. Number 2, I started reading books, because if you're someone like me and you didn't have mentors in your life, you can get mentors through books. If you're too busy to read books, I started and switched to listening to audiobooks. Download Audible. It's going to change your life. You will learn from the people that you want to be like. Now, the only thing you have to do is put it into practice. Because there's a lot of people, including me, that overstudied and underdelivered. I would study a whole book, but I wouldn't put it into practice. Guess what that takes? Discipline. Discipline is also a version of mental fortitude. So you see, if you want to be successful in sales, if you want to make those phone calls, if you need to talk to people and go to presentations, not be feared for rejection, not have the discipline to even make the calls and conversations, you must be mentally strong. All right, now that you're mentally strong, you need the right habits. So the other thing that you need to be successful in real estate, my second tip, is habits. Successful people are not more talented than us. They simply have better habits. They have a better day-to-day routine. So when you have a mental fortitude that we're talked about, and you're strong and you're disciplined and you have the desire, the will, the compassion to reach your dreams, and you project it to the universe that, hey, I declare this for myself. Not a goal, a declaration. Goals are weak. A declaration to the universe. I am Rick Dhillon and I am becoming this. That's a declaration. And then the mental fortitude to make sure that you put that into action. The action part is your habits. Your daily routine that you are not going to skip for anything. If you have a daily routine, having a hangover is not an excuse. I'm not telling you what to do with your life. I'm not telling you not to celebrate. I don't care if you drink. I care if you use that as an excuse not to do the things that you need to do the next day, because that's not mental fortitude. And if you don't have the ability to do that and accomplish your goals, well, guess what? That little crutch that you have in your life, going to the bars, watching porn, sleeping in, whatever your vice is, eating chocolate cake at midnight, man, we all have our vices. If that is stopping you from accomplishing the things that you need to do, your crutch needs to go. Because it's in your daily habits that your success will come. So as a successful salesperson, I can tell you, I can share with you mine. In order for me to be successful, I had to feel in peak performance. For me, that was hitting the gym in the morning, waking up at a reasonable time. So that is out of the way and I feel good. I feel jacked. I feel pumped. I'm not working with regret. Because if I wasn't taking care of my mental and physical health, and I was going into my phone calls and my prospecting, it wouldn't come off as good because I had this guilty feeling. So I had to get that out of the way. Not every day. We don't work out 7 days a week. Some of us do. But you need to get that protocol in. At least that was for me. So that was one of my pillars in my habits to make sure I feel peak performance. That was me waking up, hydrating, getting to the gym. Okay? Now, then I get into the office. What am I doing when I'm getting into the office? Guessed it. I'm prospecting. Man, you want the awards, you want the Ferraris, you want the nice house. Cool. If you're in sales, you gotta talk to people. You gotta pick up the phone, at least I did. And you have to have conversations. That is a habit that cannot be replaced. That is your biggest habit, is to prospect. And in order to prospect without fear, you see how tip number 1 is so important? You have to have the mental fortitude to keep going when people are saying no to you. So if you did everything, you got into peak performance, you did your workout, you're at your desk, you're making your calls, Steve on the other line says no to you, and you're like, oh shit, I'm not making any more calls. Well, then you're a loser. And I'm going to show you how to become a winner. How do I know you're a loser? Because I was a loser. I got scared anytime somebody said no to me. I went off in a little corner. I don't want you to live like that. There is losers and winners in the world, just like there's night and there's day. This is winner's circle. If you want to be a top realtor, if you want to be a top salesperson, whatever you're selling, you focus on these 4 things and you're going to get there. Prospecting is a habit. Going to presentations in the evening is a habit. Following up on the maybes is a habit. Okay, and if you follow this YouTube channel and you subscribe, you're going to get all these videos on how to do that. The third tip I got for you, unless you had a silver spoon and your dad or your mom had a PhD, meaning Papa has dough, well, that wouldn't be your mom. Maybe it will be. We are in 2024, so you never know. Okay? So, if your dad has a PhD, Papa has dough, and you're born with a silver spoon, you can shut this shit off. I never had that. And I'm sure a lot of you didn't have that. So you have to learn to eat shit. That's my third tip for you. If you want to be successful in sales, you're not going to have the glitz, the glamour, and all the head start that your peers might have had. I never had it. I'm getting friggin' goosebumps right now because it still brings out my dark side. I wanted things so bad that I had to outwork the people that had the silver spoon. If you had a silver spoon and you're wasting it, I got a problem with you. But if you had a silver spoon and you're taking that silver spoon and you're elevating it, I got respect for you, because then we're cut from the same cloth. So if you're a salesperson, you have to learn how to grit it out. Let me tell you a quick story. When I got into the sales business, my broker, I used to work at Century 21. He said, Rick, and the big teams at Century 21 back then, they were like, Rick, you need a nice vehicle. Because I had a broken up Honda Accord that was rusted and dented on the side because I couldn't afford to fix it. And they say, Rick, if you want to be good in real estate, you got to fake it till you make it. So what did I do? When I went to my listing presentations, and this is a true story, most of you guys would park in the driveway. I did not. In hindsight, you know, right now I'm so good at sales, I could have parked that rusted up Accord in the driveway and still got the listing. But back then, I was influenced by people that told me I needed a nice vehicle. So I would park around the corner, walk, doesn't matter if it was raining, doesn't matter if it's snowing, doesn't matter if the sun is shining. I would walk, park around the corner, ding dong, ring the bell in my same suit that I would wear every single listing appointment, and I would get the job done. If I was lucky enough to make that commission is not going to get paid out for months in the future. So from now to my commission check, I have to learn how to eat shit, meaning I had to live within our means. You have to balance what you want and where you know you're going to be, which is a successful salesperson, with the reality of where you are today. That means you don't go out and spend your commission checks and popping bottles and impressing your girls or your guys or whatever you're into. Doesn't mean you go and take an oversized lease and buy the nice clothes and nice watches that you can't afford because you think you're going to get more business. That's bullshit. Because if you learn to communicate and articulate yourself, you don't need all that fancy stuff. Today I have some fancy stuff, but it's because I know I can. And you know what? I'm so glad I didn't have it before, and I'll be quite honest with you, I don't want it now. Because I love the grit, I love the thick skin that I had to come from. None of that stuff makes me feel good. None of it. The people around me, loyalty, discipline, love, leading from contribution makes me feel good. That's a different video though. All right, so we got to learn to eat shit before we make it. It is what it is. Here's your fourth and final tip. Boring consistency. Okay? I love Tiger Woods. You love Tiger Woods? Some of you might like Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Look, man, like who you like. But one thing they all have in common, right? They understand boring consistency. Tiger Woods is arguably one of the greatest golfers of all time. You know what he does when you're watching him? He's taking golf swings. Not the fun kind. Not the kind that weekend warriors do while they're slugging beer with three of their best friends. Taking mulligans. Cheating on their score. Don't do that shit. Take it seriously. I'm a golfer. You got to play for real. All right? He's taking those swings when nobody wants to take those swings, when his knee is hurting, when his rotator cuff is busting, crying to him, saying, I don't want to take any more swings, but he wants to be a champion. He wants to leave a legacy. What are your swings? Mine were dials. Mine were presentations. I had to boringly get rejected every single day so I can make enough commission to go a long way and invest it in real estate, which I think is an awesome asset class. So if you want success, you have to understand repetition. Boring repetition. Guys, it's a formula of life. We understand it in fitness. We understand it in in athletics. It's very easy to see. It's harder to see in business, but it's the same thing. That person that you want to be in sales, that entrepreneur that is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, is really good at prospecting if they're in the sales game. If they run a business and they're not in the sales game, you know how they made hundreds of millions of dollars? They hired a sales team that is very good at prospecting. You cannot get in the millions without marketing, and more importantly, without sales. And in order to be good at sales, you gotta follow these 4 tips. You gotta understand that repetition is the mother of all skill. Do it right, do it often, and you too will be successful at sales. I want you to pick your pain, because you're gonna have one. Are you gonna suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret?